o'clock next on the Action News Late Edition.
Gunshots steal a life in Hartford. We'll have the story.
Fire has left its mark on one of New Haven's oldest churches. I'm Charmaine Wilkerson. I'll have a report coming up.
What's a sports bar without Monday Night Football? Empty. I'm Elizabeth McGuire, and I'll tell you how some tavern owners are weathering the NFL strike.
There's a little bit of rain in my forecast. I'll tell you about it in just a few minutes. Bob?
Jeff, it's win or else time for the Mets. We'll have highlights of their date in Philly.
And a missing man is home safe and sound tonight.
All that and more straight ahead on the Action News Late Edition.
Sometimes I feel like I'm walking a tightrope. I need these machines like I need my cows. But the way we use power is getting so I can't afford to run them.
You're not alone. Call Northeast Utilities. We've got ways to help you may not know about.
I got a lot here worth saving.
What makes Shirley MacLaine tick? Imagine having the experience of countless lifetimes, personalities, and occupations. She only lives one life at a time, but she has a library of past lives to use as reference. Can we all tap this same resource? Do we have it all? Our guest says yes. Part 2 with Shirley MacLaine on our next show.
Tuesday morning at 10 on WTNH Channel 8.
Weekdays at 4:30, make it 8 with the People's Court.
Live from WTNH, this is Connecticut's Action News Late Edition with Al Terzi, Diane Smith, Jeff Fox with the weather, and Bob Picozzi with Big Board Sports. Now, Action News Late Edition.
Good evening. At the top of the news tonight, a sense of loss in one Connecticut community. A historic New Haven church is gutted by fire. And as Charmaine Wilkerson reports tonight, members of the congregation are wondering where to go from here.
You could see the smoke for miles around. Firefighters battled the blaze in the First and Summerfield United Methodist Church, while crowds gathered across from the church by the New Haven Green.
It's really difficult when you see it actually burn in front of you.
We are a church that reaches out to the community, and we really are a community within ourselves, and it's kind of hard.
Especially hard, knowing the church has been standing on this corner since 1848, knowing that at times it has reached out to the community at the risk of controversy, such as when parishioners gave sanctuary to members of the Black Panthers and to anti-Vietnam War protesters in the 1960s, and knowing that even today the church continues to reach out. This church was more than a place of worship to the community here. It also housed offices for an AIDS project, a nuclear freeze movement, a daycare center, and 3 union locals.
3 of the people from the union came downstairs and told us that there was a fire in the room, so they escorted us out, and then we saw fire up top of the roof and smoke.
No one was injured, but 3 firefighters were taken to local hospitals for treatment of smoke inhalation and exhaustion. The New Haven fire chief says the blaze appears to have been accidental, but it's too early to say whether renovation work being done on the church may have affected the spread of the blaze. There is some good news. The building structure is still strong, but the pastor says rebuilding the church will be an expensive task.
On one hand, the fire department says they believe the walls are okay, but we'll have to start kind of with walls and go from there.
Especially since it's difficult to put a price on a history that has taken this church from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and beyond. Charmaine Wilkerson, Action News 8 Late Edition, New Haven.
And Charmaine tells us tonight the next order of business for the pastor is to decide where next weekend's church services are going to be held.
A Hartford man is in jail tonight, charged with killing his neighbor this afternoon following an argument. Police say 18-year-old Delbert Mapp was shot to death here on the sidewalk on Magnolia Street, just a few doors down from his home. 24-year-old Anthony Hawkins, also of Magnolia Street, is in custody tonight, charged with the murder. Action News has learned of a possible financial scandal in the New Haven Parking Authority, one that has reportedly already forced the resignation of at least one employee. Sources tell Action News the problem involves thousands of dollars and parking spaces the city rents out. Sources say $16,000 that was to be collected is unaccounted for. Tomorrow, Mayor DeLito and Parking Authority Executive Director Timothy Phillips hold a news conference about the irregularities.
All I can tell you is that when the new director was hired several months ago, Mayor DeLito gave him a very broad mandate to come in and to investigate and to look in ways of making the authority more efficient and more productive. And in the course of his pursuit of that is where he uncovered some things that are really extremely serious.
And we'll have more details on that story tomorrow on Action News.
The search is on tonight in the Stony Creek section of Brantford. Police looking for a missing man whom they've identified as Daniel Wendrick, age 28, hometown unknown. It is described as blonde, about 5 feet 8 inches tall, and weighing about 170 pounds. They say he failed to show up for an appointment late this afternoon. He is known to be a diabetic, too, so there is considerable concern about his health at this hour. Right now, they're searching near the Sawmill Road area of Stony Creek, where his car was found earlier today. The 35-year-old Granby man, though, is resting comfortably tonight back home after a day-long odyssey in the McLean Game Refuge in Granby. William Vassar was found shortly after 4 o'clock this afternoon by searchers. He'd been missing since midday yesterday. Vassar was severely mentally retarded and doesn't speak. Was found by rescuer John Eno.
The way he was acting, it caused me to take note because he was wearing blue pants. Everybody said he'd be in tan pants. I didn't know if it was him or not or another searcher. I watched his actions and I said, no, there's something wrong here, and went and looked, and it was him.
More than 60 people took part in an extensive search that ended in Vassar's recovery. The 35-year-old man had been part of a Salmon Brook home group outing when he wandered off yesterday.
Connecticut Senator Lowell Weicker is out of the hospital tonight and plans to be on Capitol Hill tomorrow for a vote on defense spending. He's had a continuing problem with kidney stones and was first sent to the hospital on Friday, but they released him later that day. Yesterday, when he began experiencing pain again, he was readmitted, but he's said to be feeling a lot better tonight. Tomorrow morning will mean a new beginning for Representative Pat Schroeder. Today, the Colorado Democrat tearfully announced she will not be a candidate for the 1988 presidential election.
I could not figure out how to run and not be separated from those I serve. There must be a way, but I haven't figured it out yet.
Schroeder also said she was not running because she could not turn every human contact into a photo opportunity. That was a quote.
No cheering again tonight for football fans. The players' strike claims another game. Elizabeth McGuire is showing us tonight how that labor disagreement is affecting one restaurant in East Hartford, a restaurant that depends on football to make that cash register ring.
At this East Hartford sports bar, baseball is replacing football on the big screens. But nothing is replacing the usual Monday night football crowd. No football means no customers, means no money in the bartender's pocket.
I'm not making any money on tips, and that's how I make my living.
Scott says he's losing $60 to $70 a night in tips. Without Monday night football, business is slow for the cook as well. How come you're out here instead of in the kitchen?
No business, not cooking. Can't do anything. Just sort of just wait for people to come in.
The bar owners say the kitchen is losing about $150. Some fans are finding diversions, but foosball, they admit, isn't quite the same as the NFL. Now, just because some tavern owners are feeling the economic pinch of the NFL strike doesn't mean some football fans aren't finding other ways and other places to spend their money, like shopping malls.
If it were not for the football strike, we would be home finishing dinner, and he would be getting ready to watch the football game.
Do you usually watch Monday Night Football?
Yeah, when it's on.
What are you going to do instead?
Shop.
The NFL strike may be making the cash registers ring for some retailers, but the only sound many tavern owners want to hear is this.
NFL Monday Night Football. This is our 18th season. And
in East Hartford, I'm Elizabeth McGuire, Action News 8, late edition.
Maybe next week. As for the hopes of a settlement of the pro football dispute, Bob Picozzi will have an update on that later in sports. Dan?
Still to come, a flock of birds is blamed for the crash of a B-1 bomber in the Colorado prairies.
And a tragic cleanup operation continues in Colombia. All that and more as the late edition continues.
You will not put a stop to the crimes being committed in this abbey.
I think war has just been declared.
All my life I had to fight. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Either we submit or we fight.
There's another big shot by Tyson. This fall, you can see it all. The Super Season on HBO. But you gotta get it to see it. Call today and get 50% off installation.
Sir, there is too much food in this Encore frozen entree. Too much Encore? Yes, we couldn't possibly eat all of those heaping helpings of lasagna and veal parmesan. Can't possibly. But Encore is a 2-pound family-size entree. We haven't got a family. No family. Well, why not share your Encore with some deserving family? Whose? Mine. We'll be over at 5:30.
Excuse me, about these large Encore servings.
Be over tomorrow night, ma'am, 6:30.
Oh.
When you want more, it's Encore.
Waiting just beneath the surface are man's greatest adventures and deepest fears, where the hunter becomes the hunted, and every breath could be your last. So get in over your head in the all-new Sea Hunt, starring Ron Ely as Mike Nelson and introducing Kimber Sissons. If you can take the pressure, take the plunge. And don't miss the thrill of the all-new Sea Hunt.
Starting Sunday at 5 on Channel 8.
Of these dice is all it takes to change your life. Hello, everybody. I'm Wink Martindale, your host for High Rollers, the exciting game of high stakes where every decision is a gamble. It's a good roll. And every roll could be your last.
I want the 9.
6, it's a bad roll. All it takes is a little skill, strategy, and a bit of sabotage to win thousands of dollars in fabulous prizes. So tune into all the action and find out why it pays to play. High Rollers.
Weekdays at 11:30. Make it 8.
The man who first leaked the news of the U.S.-Iran arms sales is dead tonight. Mehdi Hashemi was executed in Iran today after being convicted of treason. Hashemi was formerly a top aide to the Ayatollah Khomeini's hand-picked successor, Ayatollah Montazeri. The executed man formerly headed the global Islamic movement, which was in charge of exporting the Islamic Revolution. A major sea lane in the Persian Gulf is closed tonight as U.S. and British minesweepers search for explosive devices. Several mines were spotted off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. Also in the Persian Gulf, there are reports that Iraqi warplanes have attacked 5 ships since Friday. Many of the civilian ships now are said to be tagging along behind military convoys, hoping for safe passage.
Here at home tonight, Air Force authorities are blaming a flock of birds for today's crash of a big B-1 bomber in Colorado. 3 of the 6 crew members aboard apparently killed. The others parachuted to safety. The plane was on a low-level training flight when it hit the birds, and 2 of its 4 engines were knocked out when the birds were sucked into the engines. It's the first crash of this particular model of the B-1. An earlier version crashed in California 3 years ago. They cost about $280 million each. Meanwhile, the rescue effort continues in Colombia tonight, where at least 120 people have been killed in a massive landslide that crashed into the country's second-largest city, Medellin. The slide entombed an entire slum district of the city, and the dirt and mud is said to be 20 feet deep in places. Hundreds more are still missing and feared dead. The tragedy brought on by heavy rains that loosened the earth and rock on a mountain nearby.
Very extreme weather.
Yes.
Fortunately, nothing that bad in our forecast. Rain, though, right?
Yeah, some rain in the forecast. Meanwhile, you know, on your cars, you have high beams and low beams, and some people have cars that have fog lights. Well, tonight we found a cat that actually had fog lights. Is this amazing? Look at this cat, and this cat knows that it looks like fog tonight. I'll be back with the forecast in just a minute, so don't go away.
Doesn't it seem just when you're getting used to summer, fall is upon you? Now Toro has an easy way to keep up with fall. The new Toro Rakovac, a powerful blower that blows leaves off patios, from under bushes, lawns, anywhere, then vacuum, shreds, and bags them. For a fast, easy cleanup, use the Toro Rakovac before the next season is upon you.
Factory rebates up to $10 at Caldors and other fine Toro retailers. When was the last time you stood up for something?
I'll return with the verdict in a few moments. You got my coin that I flipped for a
Can't make a decision until I hear what everybody has to say.
But she's lying.
He stands for justice. He's tough.
He's had all the chances he's going to get from me.
He's understanding.
Well, how can I help you?
He's the judge.
A judge.
And he's here weekdays at 4. Then take the stand with Judge Wapner in the People's Court at 4:30. Stand up for your rights to watch courtroom drama weekdays from 4 to 5 only on Channel 8.
She wants her stove back.
Did you call the defendant and tell her?
I sure did, and they
What'd she say?
She said, sorry, but you can't have it. And I offered to sell it to them. Well, if you want to give me $150, you can have the stove. And they said no.
The defendant.
Our agreement was that I would use the stove until the house sells, and that I would...
That could be forever.
Tuesday at 4:30, only on WTNH Channel 8.
Jay, we need a maid.
No way, Dave.
Why not? The place is a mess.
Because she'd always be watching us, sneaking around in her sensible shoes.
Come on, it won't be that bad.
It will.
It won't.
It will.
It won't.
It will.
What are you talking about?
When Jay and David advertised for a live-in maid, they got the one thing they never expected. They got lucky.
Bachelor Paradise, Saturday night at 8:30 on Channel 8.
Wearing a seatbelt is now the law in Connecticut. So practice getting into the seatbelt habit.
Jeff Fox here to explain where he saw that cat. Was it in a cemetery?
I did not see that. That was from one of our photographers, and I'm not exactly sure where, though it's probably the reflection of the light on the top of the camera.
It's just like out of Stephen King.
I know. It was like Cat of the Damned. It was very... It was very, very odd. I don't know. I think we're going to get 13 years of bad luck here, but I'm not sure. Let's take a look at our current conditions. 68 on the coast, 66 inland. The dew point's very close to the temperature, and as the wind calms down tonight, we are going to look for some fog to form. Relative humidity is high. The barometer is rising, but it'll start going down as we move into tomorrow. Winds out of the southwest now between 5 and 10 miles an hour throughout the state. Here are the current conditions from all across the region. Temperatures in Connecticut at this hour are in the mid-60s. There is going to be very little in the way of temperature movement overnight. The bottom line for temperatures going down is the dew point, and the dew points are in the 60s, so not too much change. Michael Lombardo in Wyndham Center, 64 degrees, and when he went outside, he was surprised it was so misty with the fog forming. And 63 from Joe DeMeda in Waterbury, who spent last week with his wife in Barbados. They got to meet Emily. You remember Hurricane Emily? Oh, yeah. Came very, very close to Barbados. He's tried to sleep through it, but his wife woke him up and he said once he was up, they were wide-eyed and scared out of their wits with really strong gusty winds and lots of rain and more surf than you're used to seeing. This is the time when having that oceanfront room in Barbados is not really a great idea. Anyway, on the satellite map, we had clouds earlier, but they have since moved off with a warm front. More clear skies. I think we'll see partly cloudy skies tomorrow with building clouds toward the afternoon and evening. Of course, the obvious feature on the satellite map is this long line, a cold front, which has been causing some pretty heavy rain and thunderstorms throughout the midsection of the country. I think this is in the cards for us for very late tomorrow night and also into Wednesday. In fact, mostly in Wednesday. Also, you may want to look down at the Gulf of Mexico. It looks terrible, horrendous, but I've checked with the Hurricane Center, and really there is no sign of circulation, which would be the first sign of forming of a tropical storm or a hurricane or anything like that. So right now, just thunderstorms and no need to worry in the Gulf. Here's that line of storms. It continues to move from the west to the east and will continue to move again tomorrow, and I think as it gets into our region sometime early Wednesday, with a flow of Gulf moisture in front of it, we are going to see rain heavy at times on Wednesday and lasting into very early on Thursday morning. It only looks like about a one-day event, but a rotten one day. Temperatures tomorrow in the 70s. Don't close the door yet. Look at this out in the west. I just wanted to point out someone's still appreciating summer. 90s in the desert southwest. All right, let's take a look at the forecast now. For tonight, we will have partly cloudy skies and some fog forming, 58 to 63, southwest winds 5 to 10. Morning drive, same story, 60 to 65. And then for the rest of the day, we will look for partly cloudy with those clouds building late in the day. Breezy tomorrow, 75 to 80. A little bit sticky again, southwest winds 10 to 20. Periods of rain and thunder, heavy at times on Wednesday, temps around 70. And the extended forecast, partly cloudy on Thursday, showery on Friday, and partly cloudy on Saturday. But the temperature takes a hike to the basement as we move into this coming weekend. That's a long way off. You have plenty of time to shop.
For a new
long
winter
underwear.
Woolens. Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Let's check those lucky numbers in tonight's Connecticut lottery drawings. First, the daily game, 743, 743. And if you played 4, you needed 8663, 8663. And a reminder, tomorrow night's lotto jackpot is up to $3 million. Nobody won last Friday. Good luck.
And in sports, the Mets begin a season-ending 6-game road trip.
Yeah, knowing that one more loss could mean the end of their hopes for another world championship, not to mention denying me a trip to San Francisco. We'll have baseball highlights from New York, Philly, Cincinnati, Detroit, and Arlington, Texas, and tell you about the exciting and thrilling developments on Day 7 of the football strike. Stay with us.
Want to go for a spin? I'm a wheel watcher. I'm a wheel watcher. Every day. I love to play. I'm a wheel watcher. I'm a wheel watcher. Become one now. I'm a wheel watcher.
Weeknights at 7 on Channel 8.
This child star became ambassador to Ghana.
What?
Who is Shirley Temple? Audio Daily Double. They sang, "Time is on my side."
The Rolling Stones.
What are you guys doing? Taking Jeopardy. Oh, excuse me, I never took a foreign language.
No, it's Jeopardy's, like on the game show.
Oh, then I've got one. She's short, not a real blonde, and she hasn't had a date in 3 months.
Who is Nancy?
Weeknights at 7:30 on WTNH Channel 8.
What makes Shirley MacLaine tick? Imagine having the experience of countless lifetimes, personalities, and occupations. She only lives one life at a time, but she has a library of past lives to use as reference. Can we all tap this same resource? Do we have it all? Our guest says yes. Part 2 with Shirley MacLaine on our next show.
Tuesday morning at 10 on WTNH Channel 8.
Before the first light of day. Before your first cup of coffee. You want to know what the weather's got in store for you. Channel 8's meteorologist Dr. Mel gets your mornings off to the right start with a fresh, accurate early morning forecast. Find out what your day's going to be like from an early riser. First thing in the morning, be the first to know with Dr. Mel's weather. Weekday mornings starting at 6:25 a.m. only on WTNH Channel 8 Action News.
Well, the Mets picked up a half a game today, and none too soon.
You know, if they win all of their games and they have 5 to go, they'll clinch a tie for the title because 3 of the 5 are against the Cardinals. And even if the Cardinals win, the other 4 against the Expos. But that's not going to be easy. Here's the deal. Mets win. Cards have the night off. Mets move within 2 of St. Louis. The Mets with 5 to go. The Cards have 7 left. 3 of those 7 against the Mets. Tonight in Philly, the Mets shut out the Phils 1-0. First of 3 here at Veterans Stadium. And after that, it's on to St. Louis for the final weekend. Top of the second, Howard Johnson goes the other way off Kevin Gross. Kevin McReynolds will jog home from third, and little did we know at the time, but this was to be the only run of the night. John Candelaria went the first 5 for the Mets. Get some help from Lenny Dykstra on this Mike Schmidt drive in the 4th. Not bad, huh? Candy up his Mets mark to 2-0. Still in the 4th, the Phils threatening. And watch Candelaria snare this Rick Shue drive. Candy, Rick Aguilar, and Randy Myers combine on a 7-hit shutout. Final, Mets 1. Phils 0. Elsewhere in the National, as we said, the Cards did not play, and they'll begin a big 4-game series with the Expos tomorrow night in St. Louis. Now, elsewhere, San Francisco needing just one more win to clinch the West, leads San Diego in the 3rd. Cincinnati delays the Giants clinching with this win, and the Reds did it here at Riverfront Stadium the hard way. They trailed 5-zip in the 3rd, but they won it with a 6-pack in the 4th. Barry Larkin gets 3 of those 6 off Zane Smith to make it 6-5 Reds. That was the final, and Cincinnati stays alive for at least a few more hours in the West. And tonight in Houston, the Astros lead the Dodgers there in the 8th. In New York, the Red Sox jumped all over the Yankees tonight. They led it 7-0, and they lost it 9-7. After tying it at 7, Yanks win on this 2-run pinch hit home run by Mike Easler, upper decker, off Calvin Schiraldi in the 9th. Comes with Jerry Royster aboard. Final, Yanks 9, Red Sox 7. In the American League West, Minnesota needing just a win to clinch is leading it. They're in the top of the ninth. The Twins trying to wrap it up here at Arlington Stadium. They haven't won a division crown in 17 years. Tied at 3 in the 8th. Steve Lombardozzi singles home Kent Herbeck, his 4th RBI of the night. Right now, Twins 5, Rangers 3, top of the 9th in Texas. Elsewhere in the American, if Kansas City loses, and they are losing, the Twins will clinch anyway. East leader Toronto loses, but that's okay because so did second place Detroit. Tigers remain 2.5 back. The Tigers are just trying to stay alive until this weekend when Toronto comes here to Detroit for 3. Already 2-0 Baltimore in the 5th when Eddie Murray singles off 18-game winner Jack Morris, who's just 6-7 since the All-Star game. Pete Stanacek scores 3-0, and that was the final in Motown. College soccer. New Haven today edges Quinnipiac. Bridgeport ups his record to 4-1-1. The Nighthawks open training camp today here at the East Haven Community Rink, and Coach Robbie Fatorik has just 11 days to prep his troops for their opener.
Well, the first thing is to make sure that everybody's got the right attitude and that their heads are clear why they were sent down. And I talk about numbers and I talk about players versus players that I saw and what type of camps they had to make sure that they know the reasons why they were sent down and what they have to work on to get themselves back up.
The Hawks will host Springfield in exhibition play on October 6th at the New Haven Coliseum. On day 7 of the NFL strike, the Jets signed former Jets wide receiver Derek Gaffney. I'm sure his former teammates are delighted about that. Saints nose tackle Tony Elliott of Bridgeport says he plans to cross the picket line. Ditto for defensive back James Perryman and wide receiver Walter Murray of the Colts, and Bengals linebacker Reggie Williams.
Game San Diego against Cincinnati. I would hope that I could play with these guys on the field. At this point in time, I'm going to lend my support to the efforts that's going to hopefully help this Cincinnati ball club not dig itself into a bigger hole.
And Bill Parcells held his first practice with the non-striking Giants, who will host the 49ers on Monday night. And ABC announced today they will televise the Giants-49ers game on Monday night, no matter who's playing. But Bill Parcells will be coaching.
You can imagine.
And we'll have the game here on Channel 8. Can't wait, right?
Looks like something to really look forward to. Up next, some big names in politics and entertainment joined forces today.
Imagine this. Hartford Mayor Thurman Milner and Bill Cosby in the spotlight together. Stay with us.
The clock is our tyrant. This is it. You're on, ready or not. And we're energized by this. I think the fact that we never know when a trapdoor is going to release on our program, what someone may say, what a caller may say, or how a guest may respond, is one of the things that's kept us alive for 20 years. This is a very, very rare opportunity.
Donahue, weekdays at 9 on Channel 8.
This is very funny.
Really think so?
The word for this is delirious. It's simply delicious.
You know that old expression, you are what you eat? But you're looking at a Hostess Twinkie.
I got it. It's DeLuise.
The Dog DeLuise Show, a comedy series you can hug.
Saturday night at 8. Make it 8.
Sharon, what is your secret? Secret? How did you get your husband to take you away for a romantic weekend? Frank won't even take out the garbage.
Well, Roz, maybe he thinks I'm beautiful, wonderful, and sexy, and that I deserve it.
Oh, that's your secret.
Actually, we have this friend at Channel 8 who's reporting on great getaways for romantic interludes, all within driving distance of Hartford. So if you put Frank in front of the TV Wednesday during Action News Late Edition at 11, you could be headed out for your own romantic weekend.
Oh.
State of the Constitution, Moments of Heritage, presented by Channel 8.
One of Connecticut's trio at the Constitutional Convention is remembered today. In Windsor, the Oliver Ellsworth home. Self-made, he added a great legal mind and the skills of an orator in the critical role Connecticut would play in making the Constitution happen. As a later vignette will tell, the famed Connecticut Compromise and Oliver Ellsworth later gave his state another rare honor as third Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Finally tonight, comedian Bill Cosby found nothing to joke about as he was joined by Hartford Mayor Thurman Milner and 7 other mayors in a protest today. Cosby and the mayors are urging Americans to join their campaign to, quote, unlock apartheid jails. There are reports that as many as 10,000 children are locked up in the jails of South Africa, and many charges that they're mistreated. Cosby is urging Americans to drop keys into bowls that will be placed in shops and churches across the U.S. The keys will be sent to the South African government to protest the jailing of children.
A cause about which many people obviously care passionately.
Feel strongly about.
Thank you for being with us here tonight. ABC Nightline is next with Ted Koppel, and the subject tonight is the health insurance crisis in America.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good night.